All right, friends, welcome back. Today we're talking about partial quotient division. This is just a different way of doing some division. I think it's really helpful for some of my students because you don't have to be very precise about it. Here's the way it works. First thing I want to do is I'm going to take this guy right here, my 28, and I'm going to say, okay, 28 times 10 is going to give me 28 with a 0, which means 28 times 5, because I cut that 10 in half, is going to be half of this. So that's going to be 140. 140. Now, so I did 28 times 10. The other thing I want to do is 28 times 100. That's 28 with 2 zeros. Now, if 28 times 100 is 2800, then 28 times half of 100 is 50. That means I'm just cutting this in half as well, which again is going to be half of 28 is 14 with 2 zeros. So this information is helpful off to the side because the way we do partial quotient division is we say, okay, how many times does 28 go into this? 4,396. Now, we do not have to be precise about this. What we can say is, oh, I know it goes in 100 times at least. So I'm going to say, okay, 100, and that is 2,800. So I'm going to minus this guy. So that's going to give me 6, 9. That will be 3, and this is 13. So that's 5 and 1. Okay, well, how many times does 28 go into 1596? Well, I did this over here and I said 28 times 50 is 1400. Cool, so let's do some 50 and see what that gives us. 1400. Okay, so let's subtract that. We get 96 here, and then 15 minus 14 gives us 1. So how many times does 28 go into 96? Well, we know at least 5 times because we did that. So let's do a 5 here, and we say, okay, 140. And then let's do some subtracting here. We get 6, 5, so 56. Okay, so how many times does 28 go into 56? Probably 2. Let's double check. 28 times 2, there we go. 6, carry the 1, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5, so 56. In fact, it does. So 28 times 2 gives us 56, so we have no remainders. So what do? We now just add all of this up here. That's 150. And 7. So our answer is 157. So that's how partial quotient division works. Now, let's try another one. Okay, so we have 5 going into 853. So let's do the same thing again. We say 5 times 10, that is 50, which means 5 times 5 is going to be half of this, which is 25. Then we do 5 times 100 gives us 500. Half of that, so 5 times 50 would give us 250. This is just a good starting point for this. So how many times does 5? Well, okay, we can do at least 500. So let's get that out of the way. So we're going to say times 100, that gives us 500. Let's subtract. We get 35 here, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, so 335. All right, well, can't do 500, but I can do 250. So let's do a 50 here, and that's 250. So we subtract that, we get 5, and then we got to borrow here. So that's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 85. All right, so how many times does 5 go into 85? We know it goes at least 10 times because that's 50. So we'll say 50, then we subtract, and that's 5, and then 3. And so how many times does 5 go into 35? Let's say your kid forgot and said, oh, it goes in at least 5 times, and that's 25. All right, cool. So let's do that. You don't have to do precise. I know it goes in at least 7 times, but let's just say they do 5. And we do 10 here. And so then we say how many times does 5 go into 10? That would be 2 times with no remainders. So that means we add all of this up on its side. So 150 plus that would be 160 plus 7. So 167 is our final answer. So that's how partial quotient division works. Hopefully those nifty little tricks work for you. See you next time.